The Democrats and the Republicans apparently were this close to doing a deal on a continuing resolution that would keep the government funded through March. And Elon Musk took to X, took a picture, and then did a video lighting the bill on fire and talking about how much pork was in it. Now, this is a man who has over 200 million followers. Virtually anybody that's got a pulse. And after that, it lit a fuse, and a whole bunch of people began contacting their congresspersons and saying, what is it you guys are smoking? Now the bill is in disarray. Speaker Johnson does not know what to do, and it's just beautiful. This is going to be one of those get along, go along kinds of things where you just pass a bill, increase it, increase it, increase it. And one of the reasons I ran for president is talk about stuff like this. Virtually no department would be able to pass an audit if it were a private company. Department of Agriculture, Department of Defense could not pass an audit. People would be in jail. But as is government. And as I've told you before, Milton Friedman said there's 4 ways of spending money from the most efficient to the least efficient. The most efficient is your money on yourself. You know exactly what you want, and you can determine whether or not you want to pay for what you want. Next is your money on somebody you care about, as when you're giving your wife a gift or your family member a gift. The third way is somebody else's money on you, as when you are out and you're out of town on business and you have an expense account. You can't go crazy, otherwise you get fired. The least efficient, most wasteful way of spending money is somebody else's money on somebody else. It therefore doesn't matter how much you spend, how wasteful it is, whether or not it achieves the goal that you want. It doesn't matter, because it's not your money, and more importantly, you cannot get fired. And that's the problem. And the real reason that we have a debt and deficit is not the so-called discretionary spending. I'm not saying that's unimportant, but the primary drivers are the so-called entitlements. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. And I'm not saying that people who are on them or within 10, 15 years of getting on them should have their benefits in any way altered. Promises have been made, money has been extracted, and people need to make sure that the promises that they've been made are kept. But down the road, for workers in their 20s and 30s, if there isn't radical reform that doesn't hurt the people currently on these programs or who will soon be on these programs, they simply will not be there. Obama used the word unsustainable to describe them. Bill Clinton even put together a commission. That's what you do when you don't want to make any decision. Put together a commission, and then when the report comes out, you can ignore it. But he put a commission together to talk about the problems down the road with Social Security, and right now more money is being paid out than is being taken in. How long can you continue to do that? And the commission said, you can do a few things. You can change the criteria for eligibility. You can make it so that people are older before they get benefits. You can cut benefits. Or you can figure out a way that the money gets a greater rate of return, i.e. people could control their own money and invest it, for example, in the stock market. Those were the recommendations that were offered, and they were promptly ignored. Why? Because when George W. Bush put some time and invested some political capital into trying to do that, the Democrats maligned him for, quote, trying to privatize Social Security, close quote. The stock market is too scary. That's what his opponents across the aisle said. Numbers went down, and pretty soon Republicans engaged in their favorite exercise, which is running for the hills. And later on, Nancy Pelosi said George W. Bush gave us a political gift. That's why we need an amendment to the Constitution to fix spending to a certain percentage of the GDP. Otherwise, the reforms I'm talking about will simply not be made. Thanks for watching these clips from The Larry Elder Show. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment. More thought-provoking discussions are just a click away, so stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.